Hey guys, Paul from FM Products. I wanted to take a minute to show you how best to maintain your FM9 bolt. What you see is two different bolts here. The one on the bottom is for a side charging upper. This is for a rear charging upper. They are not interchangeable. You can't use this bolt in this upper and this upper, this bolt in this upper. They just don't work that way. So if I was going to maintain this, let's talk about it. There's some components in this bolt. One is the extractor, the reliability post and spring. This is a firing pin retainer. This is the cotter pin that holds the extractor in. This is the firing pin, and this is the string. I don't really see a benefit to taking the extractor out. I would literally just flush this area here with some gun scrubber every 500 to 1,000 rounds, and that's probably would keep this extractor functional for the life of the gun. If you did need to take the extractor out, I would use a 3/32 punch. There's a hole drilled in the carrier key, and you should be able to drive that pin out. Now, putting it back together it can be problematic because you have to compress the extractor, reliability post, and spring in the bolt before you insert the pin back in. If you need us to do that for you, if you want to replace the extractor at any point, just send it to us. We'll take care of it for you. I don't recommend that for maintaining your bolt. Again, just flush it out with gun scrubber and some oil. You'll be fine. If I wanted to take the firing pin out to clean the firing pin channel, I would take a 3/36 punch. I would insert it into the firing pin retainer hole, and I would push out the firing pin retainer. I have the firing pin retainer pushed out. Now I'm going to remove the punch, and now the firing pin and spring will fall out the bolt. There is the spring and the firing pin. Then I would take some gun scrubber and I would flush the channel of the firing pin. It's important to keep carbon from gumming up the firing pin in there. That will cause problems. So you want to keep the carbon buildup from here, keep it clean with some gun scrubber and some oil on occasion, and that's pretty much all you need to do. Again, you're going to want to flush this out every 1,000 rounds to keep the carbon buildup out. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and reassemble it. I'm going to go ahead and take the firing pin spring, put it on the firing pin. I'll insert it back in the hole, and then I will compress it with my index finger like that. And then I'll take the firing pin retainer and I'll put it in the hole to hold the firing pin in. Now I'm going to check function. I'm going to take a punch or a big pen, and I'm going to depress on the firing pin to make sure it moves freely, which it does. And then I'm going to push on it till it stops, and I'm going to flip the bolt up to make sure the firing pin is sticking out the end of the bolt, which it is, and that's acceptable for me. One last thing I want to note. This pin for the extractor has to be proud of this surface. If you see this firing pin, if you see this extractor retaining pin here sticking out the bottom of the bolt, that's what it was designed. Don't drive this pin back into the bolt. If you do that, the extractor will not be supported on the bottom, and that could cause it to break. So remember, leave this pin alone. If you see it sticking out the bottom, just leave it. That's the way it's designed. Thanks for joining us. Paul from FM Products.